Hello, sir. My name is John de Santiago. This is going to be my week 4 assignment. I know it's late. I had a lot of things to do during work. So before I start, I'm going to go ahead and clear my rifle. So this is my rifle here. Here's my magazine. I've already cleared my workspace of any live ammunition. The only ammunition or rounds I have are going to be the dummy rounds, which are red. So to clear my rifle, I'm going to go ahead and pull the charging handle back to the rear. Inspect, feel. I got no ammunition. So my rifle's clear and good to work with. So from here, so this is my rifle fully complete. When I come back, it's going to be fully disassembled, and I'll go into part 2 of this assignment. Okay, sir, so I'm back. So my rifle has been completely disassembled into its main components. Okay, so first we have the upper receiver, which is this part in the barrel. We have the buffer spring and the buffer, the lower receiver. We have the trigger assembly. We have the bolt carrier. We have the actual bolt face and all the components of the bolt with the charging handle, as well as the actual magazine. So when we're looking at the cleaning process for a rifle, or in any, in this case, the AR. So in order to clean the barrel, what I would do is I'd put in some CLP or some solvent in there, let it go down the riflings, and then I would use what you call a bore snake. So the bore snake is you put in this little copper piece inside the tube, or from the inside the breech. It goes down and you pull it all the way through. What that does is there's all this material with also some fine abrasion kind of stuff on here that'll help clean out the barrel. From there, then you can go into using the actual Christmas tree, which is a brass kind of abrasive tool that you put on the end of a rod. You push it back and forth, up and down. But obviously when we do that, we put the barrel facing down because we want everything to fall out. Okay, so that's one way of cleaning the barrel. We clean the compensator just with the brush and CLP, kind of brush it off, kind of get everything out of there. For the actual buffer and buffer spring, kind of label it down with some CLP, use a rag to clean it off. Now when we're looking into the lower receiver, this is where we're going to want it really clean. So in here, I haven't shot this rifle yet, but in here there would be a lot of carbon buildup. So in here we would go in with picks, a lot of Q-tips, brushes, metal scrapers, whatever it can be to get all that carbon buildup out, because we don't want nothing to impede these springs and these tensioners to get have more friction and have anything that will keep them from compressing back to how they're supposed to be. Now when we're cleaning the trigger, okay, we can play this. We're going to scrub all these parts. We're going to lubricate them with CLP, let it sit for about 10-15 minutes, let it dissolve that carbon, all that buildup of dirt, and we're going to make sure that all these springs get cleaned inside with a brush. We're going to make sure that we clean them all thoroughly, make sure there's no debris, especially again this crevice here where the actual disconnector sits. We want to get all that stuff out. Okay, and by the way, that we just scrub it, we just scrape it with a brush, just brush it out, use the metal brushes, brush it out, and that's one way to clean the trigger. Now when we move on to the bolt and the bolt assembly itself, so for the bolt assembly, we're going to let this soak with CLP for at least 20 to 30 minutes. Why? Because this is the part that's going to contain most of the carbon buildup, the dirt, everything else. So every piece of this would here, we'd soak in a good amount of CLP, let it sit, let it destroy that carbon. And here's where we're going to want to clean that carbon out, which is where the gas comes in and the firing pin is recessed, right? So clean these gas rings, clean all this, make sure there's nothing on here. On here, we're going to also want to use an abrasive tool, maybe the Christmas tree here, to scrub this and get every caked on piece of carbon off. Once you do that, everything is clean. We go ahead and dry it off really well, and then we add a light coat of CLP. Not a lot, just a light coat to help protect from corrosion, from friction, and from damaging pieces that are moving. Okay, sir, so I'm back. So I went through the whole clean process and everything. We put the rifle back together. I'm going to go ahead and do a functions check. This is to ensure that everything was cleaned correctly, no parts are missing, and the rifle functions properly. So first of all, we're going to have the weapon on safe. Squeeze the trigger, nothing should happen. Nothing happens. We're going to go ahead and rack the bolt to the rear. That's going to engage the actual hammer back. We're going to go ahead and place the weapon on fire. Squeeze the trigger. We should have a click. It's a click. We're going to select on the back. Now we should hear the trigger reset. Reset. Squeeze the trigger. Fire. So we're good. Function check is complete. So for part 3 is the best way to get to the customer is, explain to him how the cleaning process should go. Explain to him that if you don't clean your rifle it's going to give you malfunctions. Regardless of how many rounds you shoot, regardless of how well you take care of it, if you don't clean it, you don't maintain it, you don't lubricate these parts, it's going to cause a lot of malfunctions. You're going to have anything from stovepipes to double feeds to failure to fire due for there's enough carbon buildup inside the bolt that the pin doesn't go exactly all the way out. With that being said, the only way to train the actual customer is to sit down with them, show them, explain to them each part and how it works and how carbon buildup, dirt, etc., worn and broken parts can affect the cycle of operations. For part 4, as a gunsmith, it's kind of hard to teach or to mentor somebody that's been shooting weapons on proper procedures and stances. But if you have a newcomer who doesn't know anything, it's always good to take that approach to teach them. Fundamentals is a big part in managing weapons, shooting weapons, having weapons, because if you don't do the fundamentals right, you don't do the little things right, you'll never be accurate and you'll never know how to truly use the tool and what it's meant for. So as a gunsmith, we can kind of mentor and kind of teach, but not a lot of people are going to listen because everyone has their own style of what they do and how they do it. But if they come and ask you, it's always good to teach your knowledge and teach someone something new than just pushing them away. So part 5 for this assignment is accessories and attachments. Now, depending on what it is, it can benefit you or it can hurt you. So, for example, if on my rifle, I was gonna to add more Picatinny rails on here and then put like a flashlight, a laser, a guard handle, all that stuff. That's gonna be, it could positively impact you, but also negatively because there's gonna be a lot of weight on the front of the barrel. So now when you hold it, instead of being more of an even hold, you're kind of now teetering back and forth trying to support the weight that you put on the front. So a lot of people, they kind of just add like a light with a laser and they kind of put like a either a handle or a bipod here. Other things that can impede is optics. Depending on how many optics, I've seen people who have a full like optic on here with a side mount of an RMR, or they'll add like a red dot. So that adds more bulk to your weapon. The point of a rifle, depending on what you're doing, is to be sleek, to be compact, so that it could be specific to the user. I know for us in the military, me as a Marine, the more sleek you are, the better, especially when you're doing combat, modern war, CQB. The thinner you are, the better to move into a building. But again, that's individual's preference. I had Marines who had a lot of stuff on their rifles that didn't really serve a purpose. I usually just had my RCO, I had a bipod and my PEC 16. That was it. Kept it slick, kept it simple. So that's my week 4, sir. Thank you.